All right, folks, we are at 8 o'clock here, so we will get started with our presentation today. Again, my name is Cindy Morgan. I'm the Public Engagement Coordinator for MnDOT in Southeast Minnesota. That is District 6, and I want to take the opportunity to welcome you to our weekly public meeting for the Highway 61 Lake City reconstruction. Today is July 21st. So with that said, we'll go through our housekeeping rather quickly here. I know many of you do join us week after week, but for those who maybe are joining us for the first time, we do mute all those phone lines just to make sure that we have a good quality audio experience for those joining us today. But if for any reason you do have difficulty with your audio, especially if you're joining us through the computer platform, you do have an option in which you can call in, and that's 1-855-282-6330, and it will ask you for an access code. That number is 146-015-2710. It's also placed at the bottom of the screen of this presentation too as well, so that way you can find that if you need that at any point in time. You can also have the program do that for you too if you head to your navigation bar, which sometimes is at the top or bottom depending on a couple of things there. But find that, look for the More button, and in there you'll be able then to have the audio change in which way is most appropriate. This is host and panelist style for us today. We have representatives from Rochester Sand and Gravel, MnDOT, City of Lake City, and Lake City Chamber of Commerce. So they are all available for you to ask questions to. And speaking of those questions, we have 3 ways to ask them. If you're joining online, all you have to do is click that little chat box that's again on that navigation bar and type that question in. All the panelists will be able to see that. However, if you are calling in, you do not have that option. But you can still ask a question. Just simply head to the MnDOT webpage for this project. We've got it listed there, or also you can do a Google search of Highway 61 Lake City Reconstruct, and typically it pops right up. The meetings tab, the comments tab is where you'll go. Click on that and you can provide any questions you have. And this is also after our presentation today. You can share or ask questions through that medium as well. And as always, Dick Swenke and myself are available for questions or comments, especially after the meeting. And Dick Swenke's contact information is 507-259-4059. And his email is dick, D-I-C-K, .swenke, S-W-E-N-K-E, @ROCHSG.com. And myself, Cindy Morgan, 507-951-6593. And my email is Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, .morgan@state.mn.us. So folks, today we're going to go over the recent progress and upcoming work. We've got a couple of traffic updates for you too as well, and touch real quickly on that detour as it's pretty easy to see. I actually got to go down to the site yesterday because I am in a work from home position at MnDOT. And so I was able to visit, and yeah, that downtown section is really coming along, and you can start to see those features move in. So we'll talk a little bit more about the detour and what to expect as we sometime soon here transition into the next stage. So with that said, I'm going to toss things over to Dick Swenke, who's got a review of last week's work, and then what we'll be looking at this next week.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, on the south end of the project, last week we completed the curb and gutter, we continued concrete sidewalk work, continue working on the irrigation systems, continued signal system install, completed sidewalk removal, and continuing grading. And started installing brick pavers and street lighting installation. On the middle section, we continued working on water main, roadway excavation, roadway backfill, storm sewer and catch basins installation. Upcoming this week on the south end, we are completing concrete sidewalk, the irrigation system, roadway fine grading, and continue brick pavers. In the middle section, we are continuing water main, sanitary sewer, roadway excavation, storm sewer, and roadway backfill. On the south end, pedestrian crossings are on the north side of Center Street, South Dwell Street, South Elm Street. In the middle section, we have vehicle crossings at Marion, Woodburn, and Doherty. Doherty Crossing will likely be closing today and moving to Jewel and Park Street in the middle of this week. On the project, we have down in a fairly confined area, we have about 13 backhoes working and about 50 people getting things all done. It takes good coordination to keep all these people in sync, and Matt's doing a great job staying on top of this.
Yeah, you're referring to, oh, thanks, Rick. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Yeah, you're referring to Matt, who's the on-site project manager for Rochester Sand and Gravel, and we had an opportunity to meet yesterday, and I'm glad you mentioned that there's, you know, obviously a lot of equipment down there and a lot of folks. What I found really interesting is that you guys listed off all the different businesses and agencies down there. They're working on the project, and just off of the top of your head, you guys were able to list off at least 10 that are currently working in this small condensed area through that downtown business area, and then of course into that section 3, which is that middle part too. So it does take a lot of coordination, and sometimes if there's a hiccup, it can lead to some delays in other areas too as well. But so far, it seems like the weather has been really favorable most of the time, and the crews are continuing to work hard despite some pretty hot days being out there. And again, that was my big takeaway, is there's a lot of folks. But Dick, you said there's approximately 50 people at times working?
Yes, there is. They just started the sidewalk pavers, and that brought about another 8 guys to the project yesterday morning.
Yeah, I actually have a picture here of that. And so, you know, some of those sidewalk features are really starting to get put in place in downtown. So getting that curb and gutter seemed to be starting that and allowing for a lot of that to happen. And so now the rest of that can be constructed. And so I've got a couple pictures there from my visit. And yeah, the pavers are going in down near the grocery store on the very southern end of the site there. And so they're just starting work on that. And then we also have quite a few of those areas through the downtown that have those planter boxes. At least that's what I'm going to refer to them as. And then also the concrete that has different coloring on it too as well being placed in. Speaking of those planter boxes, and hopefully maybe Dick yourself or Mark might be able to answer this. We do have a question here from Mary Nichols about, is there a way to get a list of types and placement to the location of the trees? Do we have that kind of detail with this kind of project, or is it just we have a variation of trees and they're placed? How does that work, guys?
Hi, Cindy, this is Mark. Yeah, there's a listing of in the plan what trees and what shrubs go where. So I can send that out.
Sure. And Ray Nichols, is that something that you'd like that list of? I believe I do have your contact information, and perhaps I can get it to some of our city folks, and so we can send that to you. So I'll help connect you with that list from Mark. One moment here while I make a note of that. All right, thanks. Yeah, so kind of a lot of these features coming into play, and that's also why there's a lot of different folks down there working on this. It's a lot of detailed work too as well. but all of it is coming together. Another reminder, and Dick did bring this up yesterday as well too, that there are still folks that are going through that construction zone with a bit of an excess of speed. Obviously, that is not what we want to see. We have a lot of folks down there. There are pedestrians nearby and those workers too as well. And so we want to extend that reminder again to folks to use that extra caution in there. And Dick, you had said that there was one cross-section in particular where you've noticed that you would like to put out the request for folks really to slow down. Which one was that again?
Marion Street.
All right, thank you.
Well,
So
in
yes,
fact, all of the streets where they cross.
yes, that's right. All of them are ones that we want folks to pay attention, but you did highlight that that particular street was quite noticeable.
Yep.
And so we'll advise that to folks again and make sure that we put out that request to folks. And if you can help out too as well and make note of that to anybody if you're a downtown business who's coming to visit or have folks coming to visit, or, you know, just being a helpful citizen, also a nice way to help us out with that too. We do have another question here from Mayor Nichols, so 1 second while I read it. And maybe one of the panelists can help. This is another question from citizens. Is the useful life of the paver similar to the cement sidewalk? This obviously goes outside of my area expertise, so do we have someone on the panel who's knowledgeable about that and can answer that? So again, the question is the useful life of the paver similar to the cement sidewalk?
Cindy, this is Megan. I can speak to that. So I'm Megan Smith, the planning director here at the city. One of the things that the city was provided with early on was a decision between colored stamped concrete or pavers. We were advised very early on in the process that although pavers tend to be slightly more labor intensive to install, they are more durable, they last longer, and they tend to withstand salt a lot better, so like sand and salt that gets put on the roadway. And they obviously add that like aesthetic look and historic feel and sort of the charm that we were looking for in the downtown. So we were told they're more durable.
And Megan, I'm noticing something here that a lot of the pavements are placed closer to the street. Is that kind of in thought of that salt and sand kind of relation too?
Sure. So the pavers are actually not in the sidewalk area. So a traditional person walking in the downtown won't be actually walking on the pavers. They're in the area that we call the amenity zone. That's the area that all the stuff is going. So all the trees, the planters, the lighting, the trash receptacles, the bike racks, all the kind of amenities that are going in the downtown area. And again, the only reason somebody would really be walking there would be if they parked their car, they would walk across the amenity zone to get to the sidewalk. But the DOT actually has standards on making sure that the sidewalk itself, which is called the PAR, the pedestrian access road, stays free and clear of any obstructions. So that's why we wanted to really create like a well-defined area for the amenities, so it was very clear where obstructions could go and then where the pedestrian would walk.
Actually,
and you can even see, like in the picture that you're seeing, the fire hydrant is placed in the amenity zone. That was all done with a lot of thought and care because we didn't want any obstruction in the actual sidewalk area.
Thanks, Megan. Appreciate that extra information there. And then Megan, I'll have you stay with us here for Cindy, just one more second here because our next slide is talking about that high street traffic. This was something that we touched on last week as well. So I will provide you an opportunity here to give an update to the community about High Street.
Sure, and I just wanted to really take this opportunity to let those on the call know that the city is doing everything we can to help keep High Street as safe as an environment as possible. We've put up additional stop signs, but we have noticed obviously an increase in traffic on High Street. And most of that I think is due to probably just people getting to and from the businesses that are along Lakeshore Drive that no longer have access to the highway. But it is definitely something that we've noticed an increase in traffic. There have been some reports of some speeding and some reports of people blowing through stop signs. So it's just a courtesy reminder to be cautious and just, be respectful of the work zone and all the people that are trying to maneuver that area.
Great, thank you, Megan. Oh, and there is a question that has come in with that as well. So Megan, I believe that you are able to read that as well. Give me one moment here while I, I was just going to say, give me one moment while I ingest what it is.
Okay, so the question is from Mayor Nichols, and he's asking if we can put some signs at the entrance, like sort of the beginning of High Street, to let people know that they're about to embark on a 10-block journey of 10 stop signs. So it would let them know, sort of give them a deterrent, like if you plan to use this as a quick way to get downtown, it's not going to work. And we can definitely look into that. I don't think that's a sign that we happen to have on hand. It would probably have to get fabricated, but we can see if that would be something that would be definitely something that we could look into.
And I have a question that was sent to me privately here from Thomas, and the question is it possible to have the middle part of the project watered down to help minimize dust? So again, the question is it possible to have the middle part of the project watered down to minimize dust?
Cindy, this is Mark. They are doing that. I'll check with Matt and see if they can do that a little more often to keep some of that dust down.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. And that was Mark Anderson. He's the MnDOT project engineer. Okay, well, let's move on to the detour. Again, keep the questions coming if you've got any. I know sometimes it does take a little bit to type those in, and we will have an opportunity at the end to kind of wait for some more to come into as well. We'll touch about the detour. Obviously, most folks are quite familiar with this, at least if you are local and not just traveling through, because we have been in this detour for a good several weeks now at this point in time. But as I mentioned, we're starting to see some of those real defined features come in through downtown. And so we know that we are entering into some of those final stages and completing some of that work. So I did want to, again, highlight to folks that as soon as the roadway is complete and able to take on traffic, we would switch then to opening up that downtown area and then turn to that stage 3 detour, which would take folks through section 2, again, a left on 63 there, and then north onto the old part of our detour. Section 3 would remain under construction at that time, which would be our final section to complete. So no time on this yet. There's kind of a general sense that we are entering into the final weeks of this. So do know that if you're a downtown area, you do have another change coming up here soon. Obviously, we'll provide some updates through the next several weeks here too in this meeting, and also through the emails and our other avenues of communication, including the Facebook pages and also that text message service. So now is our opportunity to ask some questions. Again, use that chat function if you're joining us online, the emails. So I will check in with Sheila, who's my coworker from MnDOT, to see if anybody has sent an email in to us with a question. No, there haven't been any. Thank you, Sheila. And as always, Dick and myself are available for questions. So I'll review that information for those folks who are joining us on phone and not necessarily on the computer program. That is 507 for Dick Swenke. His phone number is 507-259-4059. And again, his email, dick.swenke@rochsg.com. And my name is Cindy Morgan, and it's 507-951-6593. My email is Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, .Morgan, M-O-R-G-A-N, @state.mn.us. All right. And again, if we don't have any other questions, what you can do to stay connected through, obviously in between our meetings, you can always sign up for those email updates. We provide a weekly update, but if there was any kind of significant change or like a detour update, we would provide that information there as well. So head on over to the project website. On the right-hand side, you'll see a button or a box that says Stay Connected, and that's where you can get signed up for those. Or you can also email me too, and I can get you helped out and connected with that. Obviously, we have Facebook pages going. The Lake City Highway 61 reconstruction page is dedicated to this project and a great spot to get information. There's also the MnDOT Southeast Minnesota page that will be sharing information, and the Lake City Chamber of Commerce as well. And then the Chamber of Commerce is offered to use their text messaging service for those updates as well. And if you would like to be a part of those, just simply text Notify Lake City, capital L, capital C, and no space between Lake City. And that needs to go to 313131. And again, Michelle at the Chamber has offered any help if you have any trouble with that. And you can email her at lcchamber@lakecity.org. All right, folks, that looks like that is the last. We've had no additional calls come in, so I will check with Sheila just one more time to make sure that we've had no additional emails.
No, there haven't been any.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, folks, for joining us today. Again, we will meet again next Tuesday at 8 a.m., so I hope you have a safe and healthy week.